Hey everybody. So last week I did a video looking at 5 NHL teams that I really underestimated going into this year. These are teams that have turned out to be much better than I thought they would back when I did my predictions at the beginning of the season. If you haven't checked out that video yet, you definitely should. I'll link it up here as well as at the end of the video. But today, I want to take a look at the other side of the coin, the teams that have been disappointing this season. And these are teams that I flat out overrated heading into this year, and they just haven't really been as good as I thought. So, before we get into it, this video is brought to you by SuperDeker. SuperDeker is an off-ice advanced hockey training system designed to make you a better stick handler, and you can get $25 off yours today using the link in the description of the video or the promo code DEEK of the week at checkout. Again, that link is right in the description. SuperDeker makes practicing fun, and if you or someone you know plays hockey, you should definitely check it out. But let's get into it here, looking at these 5 teams that I overrated back before the season began. And we're going to start things off with a big one, and that is the Edmonton Oilers. I was so high on Edmonton this season after they made it to the conference final last year. And with that team going to the conference finals, it was really their first deep playoff run with McDavid and Draisaitl. And it was something that I really thought the Oilers could build off of and say, okay, we've kind of gotten over that hump in the playoffs. We've made a deep run. We were, one series away from making it to the Stanley Cup Finals. Thought they would be able to build off of that and have maybe even better season this year. I actually predicted them to finish first in the Pacific Division and, truthfully, first in the Western Conference. And so far, that has not been the case. They currently are 16-12-0 on the season, 4th place in the Pacific. They're in a wild card spot right now. It's not like the Oilers have been horrible or, a real, huge disappointment as far as not making the playoffs or anything like that. But for a team that I predicted to be the best in the West, being a wild card team is definitely a bit of a letdown in my mind. And they certainly have not been as good as I envisioned them being back before the season started. And here they sit right now, a few games over 500. Really haven't seen the best from the Edmonton Oilers yet. Going right along with Edmonton, another team that I overrated at the beginning of the year was the Calgary Flames, their biggest rival. And I predicted Calgary to finish second in the Pacific Division, yet they're in 5th right now, just 2 games over 500 at 13-11-4 on the year. I probably should have been smarter about this, knowing the changes that Calgary went through this offseason with, Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk leaving, and Jonathan Huberdeau, Mackenzie Weegar, Nazem Kadri coming in. There was a lot of turmoil with Calgary's roster, a lot of changes happening there, and I probably should have envisioned that having a little bit of an effect on their year, especially the first part of the year, more than I did. But again, after Calgary was so good last year, I thought they were going to be able to carry that and we're going to be able to repeat that level of success again this season. I thought them and the Oilers would be neck and neck near the top of the Western Conference, certainly at the top of the Pacific Division. And like Edmonton, they just have not been at that level. Calgary right now, just 13-11-4, 5th in the division. It's been a disappointing start to the year for the Flames. Now, obviously, it's not like they've taken themselves out of playoff consideration or anything like that, but they certainly haven't been as good as I had hoped they would be and many thought they would be. And so far, they're going to need a big second half of the year if they're going to climb back into the part of the standings where a lot of us thought that they would end up. Next on the list, we've got the St. Louis Blues. Now, this team has been a major, major disappointment. Currently outside of a playoff spot, below 500. It's really kind of been a disastrous year for the Blues so far. And man, this was a team that I thought was going to be a dark horse cup contender and honestly competitive at the top of the Western Conference, maybe even enough to steal the division away. And, boy, do I look very, very wrong about the St. Louis Blues. I've ended up picking them to finish second in the Central, and they currently sit 6th right now at 12-15-1 on the year. Just God, not good for the St. Louis Blues. They've been very inconsistent this season. They've been very streaky this season. Unfortunately for them, the losing streaks have been a lot more common than the winning streaks. And this team just is struggling like hell right now. Obviously, they still have time to turn it around. It is early in the season. We're not even to Christmas yet. But this is not the St. Louis Blues that I was expecting to see back when the season started in October. And it's been a tough year for them. We'll see if they have any magic in them or if they used it all in 2019 when they turned that season around. But if they have any magic left, they're going to need it for the second half of this year because they have dug themselves quite a hole early. Moving over to the Eastern Conference now, we have the Columbus Blue Jackets, who I predicted to finish 4th in the Metro. I don't really know why. I thought we were going to see a bit of a jump from Columbus, not just because of Johnny Gaudreau, because I don't think Gaudreau is that franchise transformational player that's going to single-handedly drag a team up the standings, but I thought that the young talent for the Blue Jackets was really going to come through more this year. The Cole Sillingers, the Kent Johnsons, the Igor Chinnikovs, and they have a lot of young players on this team that I thought were going to be progressing and taking those next steps and really showing signs of improvement, along with Johnny Gaudreau coming in. I thought Gaudreau and Laine could end up being a dynamic duo, which really just hasn't happened yet. There were a lot of things I was looking at with Columbus that I could see them making strides this year. Unfortunately, they haven't made any of those strides. It's been a pretty horrific season to this point for Columbus. They're currently dead last in the Metro Division, 10-15-2 on the season. And honestly, in some of their losses, they look like they don't even belong in the league. I mean, they've had some blowout losses where it's been just absolutely horrible to watch. And things just have not gone well. They've suffered a ton of injuries, especially on their blue line. Zach Werenski being out for the year is obviously the death blow to that blue line, and they've got others as well that are really hurting the back end there. It's just been a disastrous season for Columbus, and for a team that I thought really could make some strides forward this year, they've not even come close as they sit dead last in the division. And finally, number 1, another predicted division winner that has not gotten off to a good start. In a very similar kind of way to the Edmonton Oilers, in my mind, is the New York Rangers. I predicted them to go first in the Metro, win the division. Another team that went to the conference final last year, like Edmonton did, except obviously New York was in the East. And I thought they could build off that. I thought they could use that to show that they have arrived, that they've got the players to do it. They've got, the key players in the lineup are ready to carry this team up to a deep playoff run and carry this team to a lot of success, and it just hasn't happened with the Rangers so far this season. They've been very up and down this year, currently 5th in the Metropolitan, 14-10-5 on the year. There's been a lot of talk about Gerard Gallant and his job security. There's been a lot of talk about the Rangers possibly making trades, trying to switch things up. I probably could have seen this coming with New York based on how reliant they were on elite goaltending last year. And if they didn't get that same level of elite goaltending, this was probably bound to happen. And it has, because Igor Shesterkin, who was by far the best goaltender in the NHL last season, has been solid this year. He certainly hasn't been bad. He's been solid, but he hasn't been elite. And when you drop that goaltending with this team down a notch like they have, all of a sudden the rest of this lineup hasn't been able to pull that weight and get them back up near the top of the division like they were last season. So the Rangers had, well over 100 points last year, had a phenomenal season, have not been able to match that this year. And I thought they were going to, and I was definitely wrong about that, as they currently sit in 5th place in the Metro, not where New York expected to be. So those are 5 teams that I overrated back at the beginning of the season. I thought they all were going to be a lot better than they have been, especially teams like Edmonton, Calgary, and the New York Rangers. I had them, either winning the division or right up near the top of the division. St. Louis as well. I had them up near the top of their division, and it just has not been the case so far this season. Now we're looking at teams that are in 4th, 5th, even 6th place down in the division that I thought would be up at the top. And I just got it wrong. I mean, those are teams that have underperformed this year. They've been disappointments in my mind. There's still a lot of hockey left. They can drag themselves out of these holes that they're in, but they have not been very good these first couple of months, or at least not as good as I thought they were going to be at these first couple months of the season. So we'll see what happens the rest of the way, but these teams definitely look like they were overrated in my head back in October. But with that, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Before you go, please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. You can follow Off the Wall Hockey across social media using the Linktree link in the description. You can also, if you want to further support the channel, check out our merchandise store, membership, and donation links down in the description as well. Please keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll talk to you all soon.